"We just wanted to keep you busy," my father said, smiling like he'd done me a favor. The whole table laughed. My mother didn't even look up. She kept eating, calm, like the sentence meant nothing. My sister smirked and whispered loud enough for everyone to hear, "At least he's useful for something now." 3 months. 3 months they made me work on that broken storage shop behind the house. Rusted shelves, cracked wiring, leaking roof, dust older than me. Every morning before sunrise, every night after dinner. No help, no pay, just jokes. They told relatives I had no real talent, so they gave me simple work to stay out of trouble. They told neighbors I finally stopped chasing stupid dreams. They said it like they were proud, and I stayed quiet. I nodded when my uncle laughed. I kept working when my cousin filmed me sweeping and posted it online with the caption, "Hard work suits him better than ambition." I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself, because I thought maybe this was my chance to prove something. But that night, when my father leaned back and said, "We knew you'd never do anything serious, so we gave you something harmless," something inside me went completely still. Not angry, not hurt, just awake. I realized they never believed in me. They never planned to. They just wanted me busy, small, invisible. I looked around the table. Everyone relaxed. Everyone certain I was still the same useless person they'd always known. Their laughter was loud, confident, comfortable. I smiled. I finished my food slowly. I washed my plate. I thanked my mother softly. I told them good night like nothing had changed. Then I walked to that storage shop, turned on the single yellow bulb, and closed the door behind me. That night, for the first time, I didn't clean shelves. I didn't fix wires. I made a decision. They thought they had kept me busy. They had no idea what I was about to do next. The next morning, nothing looked different. I still reached before sunrise. I still opened that rusty shutter. I still swept the floor and stacked boxes where everyone could see from the street. To them, I was still the same boy they had kept busy. But inside, everything had changed. I stopped rushing. I stopped explaining. I stopped trying to impress anyone. I started learning. While fixing wiring, I learned electrical basics from old manuals. While sorting dusty boxes, I tracked inventory in a notebook. While repainting walls, I watched online tutorials late into the night. No announcements, no posts, no arguments, just quiet progress. I repaired tools instead of throwing them away. I cleaned shelves, labeled items, organized space. Then I started selling leftover stock online. Small things first. Broken tools I fixed. Old parts polished. Items nobody valued. Every sale went into a separate account. Every mistake became a lesson. Meanwhile, inside the house, noise kept growing. My sister argued about money. My uncle's business deal failed. My father complained about bills rising. My mother worried about debts they never told anyone about. At dinner, they still joked about me. Still cleaning that shop. Still wasting time. Still dreaming. I just nodded, because I wasn't proving them wrong anymore. I was building something they couldn't see. 3 months passed. The storage shop looked different now. Clean lights, organized racks, working tools, quiet customers who came when no one was home, packages leaving every evening. No one noticed. They were too busy arguing, blaming, shouting. One evening, my father walked past the shop and said casually, "Good, at least the place looks neat now. Worth keeping you occupied." I smiled and said nothing, because behind that neat door, records were growing, orders were waiting, and a plan was ready. They were still talking about me. I was already far ahead of them. The truth didn't come out because I told them. It came out because someone else knocked on the door. A delivery van stopped outside during dinner. The driver asked for me by name. My father frowned. My sister rolled her eyes. Sign here, the driver said, handing me a receipt with a company stamp and a total that made the room quiet. Boxes weren't being delivered to the shop. They were being picked up. Orders. Paid orders. My father followed me outside, confused. The clean shelves, labeled racks, packed parcels. Everything he thought was useless work was now a small, working business. Invoices on the table. Accounts balanced. Customers waiting. No shouting. No drama. Just numbers. My mother sat down slowly. My sister stopped smiling. My father looked at me like he was seeing me for the first time. We didn't know, he said. I nodded. You never asked. They tried to apologize. They said they were proud. They said I should move the business into the house and work together. I shook my head gently. I'll visit, I said, but I won't go back. No anger, no insults, just distance and peace. Because respect doesn't come from arguing louder. It comes from building quietly. They thought I was weak because I was silent. They didn't know I was simply busy becoming strong. The house didn't change overnight, but the way they looked at me did. No more jokes at dinner. No more whispers when relatives came. My father started asking careful questions about suppliers, about customers, about costs. My mother began sending tea to the shop without saying anything, just placing it on the table and leaving quietly. My sister stopped laughing first. One evening, she asked if I could help her fix her online resume. She didn't meet my eyes when she said thank you. I didn't celebrate. I didn't remind them what they had said. I just kept working. The shop grew slowly. Better lights, better tools. Real customers walking in through the front door this time. Packages stacked neatly, accounts clean, mornings calm. Meanwhile, inside the house, something softer replaced the noise. Not guilt exactly, but realization. My father once stood at the shop door and said, "You did all this alone?" I smiled. Not alone. Quietly. He nodded like he finally understood something too late. They invited me back into family decisions, asked my opinion about money, about repairs, about plans. The same people who once laughed now waited for my answer, and I stayed respectful. But I kept my distance, because self-respect isn't loud. It's boundaries. One night, my mother said softly, "We didn't think you could do it." I replied gently, "You didn't have to think it. I just had to build it." No anger, no revenge, just truth. And in that quiet moment, they finally saw what silence had been hiding all along. They stopped laughing after that, not because I argued, but because I never needed to again. I kept working, kept growing, kept my distance. Slowly, their voices softened. Their respect became real. One evening, my father said quietly, "We were wrong." I smiled. It's okay, because some lessons don't need revenge. They need time. Silence wasn't weakness. It was preparation.